Hey guys, Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and welcome to Mail Monday. A weekly series is not so much about the gameplay, but instead is about your questions and my answers to them. I almost forgot what I say every week. Quick note on the gameplay, this is Battlefield 4, the new one that's not out yet. You'll notice a couple little things. I think there's a bug about getting out of vehicles. You're supposed to just press E and get out. I tried pressing E, I tried holding E, and sometimes there was just trouble. And it's a beta version, so it's not released yet. There's little things like sometimes friendlies or enemies don't have identifying blue and red above their heads, but overall the game was really cool. It really, really was, I swear. And anyway, let's get going with Mail Monday. Here we go. Please help. My best friend had sex with my sister. Hey Woody, I'm 16 years old and I'm going to be a junior next year. One of my best friends had sex with my sister a month or so ago. I don't know what to do. He's one of my best friends and one of my only friends. I feel like I have no one to talk to and I'm lost on what I should do. I've talked to my sister about it, and when he broke her heart, she cried for a while. They never really dated, they just hung out behind my back and stuff. Should I fight him? He's bigger than me and about 3 years older. We still hang out, and I try to act like I'm not still mad, but deep down it pisses me off. He apologized, but I don't feel like it makes up for what he did. Any advice? What should I do? Please help. Also, love your videos, and PKA 137 was awesome. So, here we go. So, you know, I've had a related question before, where people say, hey, I really like my friend's sister. You know, to me, she's the most wonderful person in the world. What should I do about this? Or, my friend really likes my sister. You know, is it okay for them to date, etc.? And my answer is usually, you know, I give it my blessing. I give it my seal of approval. Because dating is not an act of violence, you know? Your sister's a girl, and I know you want her to remain, you know, never been kissed until she's married and such. But girls are people too. And, you know, they need to date and learn how to, you know, explore the whole couple scene just like you do. And you know, that's the scene. On the other hand, what this guy did doesn't seem to fall into that category. You know, what this guy did doesn't seem to be that same sort of, like, you know, he really liked her, kind of fell in love, and they did their thing. Instead, you know, he's 3 years older. You didn't mention if your sister was older too, but I assume it kind of feels like he didn't follow the campground rule. He didn't follow that whole, you know, leave it at least as good as you found it. If you guys have never been camping, that's a big thing, right? You don't leave your trash behind. You don't make the thing worse than you got it. Ideally, you leave it in a better state than it was when you found it. That's the campground rule. And he didn't follow it. You know, it seems like, based on your letter, that shortly after he had sex with your sister, he lost interest in your sister. Like it was just sort of a conquer and move on. And that's not cool at all. You know, I hate to break up your friendship, but to me, this is the sort of thing that's worthy of breaking up a friendship over. He didn't treat her right. And that's your sister, man. And, you know, I don't think he would be my friend afterwards. I don't think I'd want any part of him. He's not meeting up to the expectations that I have for a friend of mine. I also kind of wonder if the only reason that you're still friends with him is that you don't have a lot of other friends to choose from. You know, I talked about toxic friends in last week's Mail Monday, and you know, I think the underlying truth, the thing that's not always admitted, is that, you know, the reason that somebody sticks around with friends that don't treat him well is that they don't have the options they wish they had. I think, you know, if you had 6 friends that you hung out with all the time and this guy did that, he'd be evicted from the group. And I think that even though it's hard to be alone, he still deserves to be evicted from the group. Screw this guy. He didn't follow the campground rule with your sister. To me, I'm done with him. I'm not against friends dating a friend's sister. I'm against friends treating a friend's sister poorly. That crap, it doesn't fly. Being catfished. Hey Woody, I'd like to start off by mentioning that you are my favorite commentator and that I love all your videos, especially Mail Monday. The advice you give has not only helped me, but I've passed on your advice to friends in similar situations and it's helped them all tremendously. Well, thank you. I'm 19 and at university in England. So I decided to tell a girl that I liked how I felt and made a move. Unfortunately, she turned me down. I felt liberated in a way. It made me think, what else is out there? Awesome. That's how you respond to a turn down. A couple weeks later, after moving back in with my parents, our term ended for university. I live in a relatively small town, so I tried online dating. After messaging back and forth with a few different people, I found one that I really liked. Not to mention, she also lives in the same town as me. We talked and exchanged contact information, decided to meet for the first time in person. Except when the time came, she didn't show up, under the excuse of being caught up at home. Since then, we've rescheduled, but I can't help have a little doubt in the back of my mind as I think, am I being catfished? A simple reply would be sweet. Making it on Mail Monday would be freaking awesome. Alright, so for those of you that don't know, being catfished is when somebody pretends to be somebody they're not online. I'm like really sensitive to it. I think I get catfished every day as like, you know, beautiful women tell me they love their videos and stuff, and it's like, it's possible, but, you know, you're not my demographic. So, you know, that's his concern. And I don't think it's strictly related to girls, although it usually means that. I mean, you could be catfished by somebody pretending they're, I don't know, a dad or a doctor or something that they're not. So that's that. As far as this guy goes, I mean, is he being catfished? Possibly. I can't be sure, right? It's completely possible that this guy's getting catfished and that the whole thing is a prank and that, you know, there's nothing true about this whole situation. Woody, why do you suck? So, that's a possibility. Although, as I look at a lot of situations like this, I almost try to find where the bigger regret is. Is the bigger regret in shutting this whole thing down because there's a chance that it's a trick? Or is the bigger regret in, you know, being catfished and someone successfully fooling you into thinking that they're somebody that they're not? To me, it seems like the way bigger regret is not going for it. You know, like, if you look back on this situation in a couple of years, will you say, man, she seems so perfect. I sure am glad that I was super duper guarded and didn't get fooled. I don't think you will. I think it's much more likely that, you know, you look back on this thing and say, yeah, you know, and I'm glad I gave it a go. You know, worst case scenario, what? They get to say, haha, fooled you? You know, who cares? I don't care about that at all. And it's not a catfish story, but I'll say this. There was a hot girl that liked me, and she had... I was coaching a swim team at the time, and she had this little kid hand me a slip of paper telling me to call her. And I didn't because it was April Fool's Day. I'll tell you, I was on, like, you know, walking on cloud nine for a while, right? I was all excited about it. It was, you know, it was the most coolest thing. This girl likes me. She's super hot, etc. And then when it dawned on me that this whole thing was going down on April 1st, I thought, screw it. I'm not going to make any more move on this. I'm not going to be fooled. Like kind of what you're contemplating on doing. I was lucky that a week later they were like, Woody, why didn't you call? Woody, you know, what happened there? You know, what's the deal? And I was like, it's April Fool's Day. And they said, no, it's not a joke. Call her. And that girl turned out to be Jackie. And here we are almost 20 years later from then, and we're still together. So, wait, I think it's 21 years. I don't even know. But dude, that was a long time ago, and it worked out. And I'm glad that, you know, that I got a second chance, but you might not. So, yeah, are you getting catfished? Don't know. Don't care. Give it a go. You seem to like her. Don't be so easily dissuaded. Hey Woody, I've been a sub since Black Ops 1. I've seen just about every Mail Monday, and I have a question that I only feel comfortable asking you. I'll be turning 15 in 2 months, just in case age has anything to do with it. So normally when I masturbate, my ejaculatory fluids are clear. But today when I did it, it was normal semen color, milky white sort of. Is it normal for semen to be clear when you first start masturbating? Do testicles have a break-in like a car engine? May you please feature this on Mail Monday. If you do, I will feel blessed. Alright, there's a lot of common haters out there who just love to give me a hard time for answering questions like this. But there's a reason that I do it. It's because I wish I had a resource like me when I was young Woody, right? I wish that there was someone I could ask these questions to, fully anonymous, who'd give me a good answer. And I guess now that I'm here, I'm thinking, it's not such a bad thing to give guys these answers. It's a medical question. It's not even a sex question. So, let's talk. When you first start ejaculating, it's going to be pretty clear. Unless for some reason, you know, you let's say, for example, you don't learn to masturbate until you've been able to ejaculate like 4 years in or something like that. Then maybe in a situation like that, you'd start off all white. But most guys learn early on when they're capable of doing it, which means that they're going to have a lot of clear fluid at the start. As time passes, it gets a little less clear and more white blends in. The color of your semen, once you've reached maturity, is impacted by things like your diet, how long it's been since you've last ejaculated, just, who you are, right? And your age. These things all impact the color of your semen. In case you're worried, maybe this guy didn't seem worried. He seemed to realize that he was just growing up. And I think that's the case as he moves from like really clear to more whitish. He's just growing up. But if there's someone out there who's concerned, if there's yellow in there, if there's any of the reddish tints in there, whether it be like blood-like red or like a magenta or a dried blood type thing in there, yellow, green, red, these are things to worry about. All the clear and white ranges, these are not things to worry about. They just mean, diet's changed, you growing up, stuff like that. So that's your deal, and there's your little lesson on semen color for those of you that are curious about it. I would be if I was whatever between 13 and 17. So I'm trying to answer it for those guys. All right, be sure to leave your feedback on how you would have answered these questions. I'm especially interested in your thoughts on the friend who slept with his sister. Would you forgive that and just say, you know what, humans do that? Or would you say, we're done because you can't treat my sister poorly and expect to be my friend? I'd love to hear what you have to say.